Normally don't really see this type of flush after offering. So I was checking the filing and saw there's a S3 filing. Overall on this trade, I made about 67 million because I went long. I lost about 20% on this one. I think my size was also pretty heavy. I lost about, let's say, 600K to 800K. Hello guys, Steam Dux here. Welcome to this video, and we're gonna talk about one of my biggest trades in my career that I just made a few days ago, and it has been pretty crazy in terms of entry and exit and how I really executed. A bunch of adrenaline as well for me, so I'm gonna talk about my thought process of how I made the trade. And in the last 2 weeks, I think the overall total profit is around about $17 million-ish. There is opportunities left and right, one after another. So the biggest trades were placed were CRCL and BMLR. This is probably one of the, I'll say one of the best weeks of my career. The last one that I had, which is in 2021, that was the DWAP trade. It was live traded. It's not a single day biggest profit, but it has probably close to $20 million within 2 weeks. Okay, so this is the trade that happened, I think it was on Wednesday. The overall, I started beginning to sizing around 117 once I start testing the resistance around 125 against the previous day resistance consolidations. At that time, I did not know that there was a filing coming out. I was playing against the resistance and I was very close to it, so I was concentrated in size around 125 to 120. Once they panicked into a bounce, normally don't really see this type of flush after offering. So I was checking the filing and saw there's a S3 filing that they're planning to raise about $2 billion and going to start today selling direct into the float. And that's where, the float is around 1.4 to 1.9 million in that range. Then when they're selling direct into the float, that's when the panic happens. Of course, it's aligned with same time when they filed S3 filing. So I would say it's a partial or good executions with concentrated size and give me an opportunity to add the full size as I wanted, and also give me a decent, I would say very good convictions of holding a trade. So overall, I was not being shaked out into the bounces or anything. So overall gain is around 40% to 50%. And I had a total of about 250K to 300K share. I was playing around the size and covering to see if there's actually a level 2 strand or if there's any potential bounces going to happen. So I was taking profits along the way, and it turns out it was a very good trade. I was very much debating of holding it overnight because when they planning to raise about $2 billion in the course of, I would say they are not going to sell the $2 billion in one day. It's going to happen between in the course of a month, in the course of a few weeks. And it's gonna slowly downtrend until they finish their offerings, and probably there's no buying pressures until then. My initial goal was thinking about $30 or $35 range for the final cover, but it turns out it was holding pretty well. I was very skeptical, and also my borrow fees was extremely expensive. It's expensive because I borrow so many shares. If you want to only borrow 10,000 or 5,000 shares, I think it's pretty reasonable. But as you borrow up to 200K, 300K, and you increase the demand in real time, that's where the price start getting more and more expensive. Basically, I took down pretty much 20% of the float, while the float is around 1.5 to 1.9 million. So that's pretty much the whole trade. And the previous day chart, I think, was consolidations between 125. I went to 138, I believe. Now 125 was the main consolidation. So morning spike tested the resistance. That's where it flushed all the way to 60s. Absolutely crazy trade. It's pretty much same pattern, different day. Have a bunch of concentrated positions at a very high average. Then there's not going to be a problem if I want to add bigger size. So I would say very good executions from my side. I don't see if there's any improvement on this trade, but overall I'm pretty satisfied about this one. Let's get into the next one. All right, let's talk about another one, which is CRCL. This is not the filing directed. This is just the one that just goes from 64 to all the way to 300, and the IPO tickers were really hot. It started with CRWV when the shares are being locked up about I think it was 6 months, and institutions cannot sell. There's a whole lot of hypes around AI sector and the stablecoin sector. So my initial size was, I think it was around 250-ish. I went all the way down to 230. It's not a one-time $5 million trade. The first panic I made about 1.5. The second panic, which is right here, I showed it around I think it was 220-ish, went all the way to 180. Hold it throughout this day. I think it was June 26. Overall on this trade, I made about 6 to 7 million because I went long around 140, 150-ish, made a 1 or 2 million on that, 1.5 million, and the final flush, it's I think it was 4 million. If you want to check out the account statements, it's already posted on X. Overall, this trade, I don't think I made any mistakes or took any losses on this one. CRCL was, I would say, in terms of long and short, only a few mistakes there and there, but not crazy mistakes. There's one mistake I made on BMLR. Not technically a mistake. I feel like it's more of a losses that I had to take. So it went from 4 to 66. And after the full panic, went all the way down to 43. So I was playing based on the previous day resistance, shorted into the 55-ish area and covering the 61 in the afternoon. I lost about 20% on this one. I think my size was also pretty heavy. I lost about, I say, 600K to 800K, right around there. Then made it all back, made about $10 million on the downside minus that. So the overall net profit is around 9.3. Yeah, those are the trades on BMLR and CRCL, and one is low flow, one is much bigger float. CRCL, I believe that I could push in much more size, probably can push up to 200, so maybe even up to millions of shares. I don't think it will be a problem. Yeah, not enough convictions on this one. Definitely a learning process. So hopefully we get to see another CRCL in the future. In terms of my own judgment, I did not perform the best on CRCL. Definitely go to study the chart, learning the volume, and hopefully can crush it next time. Alright guys, that would be the total recap of CRCL and BMLR. It's been such a crazy week. Please leave a comment below, and I'm gonna be traveling going to next month. Other than that, I will be seeing you guys next time.